Tonight on The Big Story, President Marcos allows the release of tax Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon. We begin with the BIR turning over to the impeachment court tax records of the Vice President and her husband. That's by virtue of a subpoena and upon the go signal of President Bongbong Marcos. Sara Duterte, who's currently on a personal overseas trip, again lashed out at the administration. The VP's recent statements seem to have critics doubt her state of mind yet again. This is a big story tonight from mobile journalist Merimon Reyes.
On Thursday, July 30, 2 boxes containing the tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband Mans Carpio arrived at the Senate. Clerk of Court and Senate Secretary Attorney Renato Bantug received the documents, which had earlier been subpoenaed at the request of the House Prosecution Panel. But apart from the subpoena, Section 71 of the National Internal Revenue Code requires the President's approval before the tax documents may be examined. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said Mr. Marcos had already given this the green light.
Ano ang sinasabi ng batas? Kung ano ang proseso, susunod po ang Pangulo. So kung yan ang sinasabi po at kinakailangan na magbigay siya ng kanyang approval sa BIR para mabuksan ang tax records nila VP Sara at ni Atty. Mans Carpio, at ito naman ay para sa katotohanan. Hindi niya po ipagkakait ang katotohanan sa ating mga kababayan.
Castro also dismissed claims that the President's decision was politically motivated.
Sa lahat naman ng pagkakataon, kapag ang Pangulo ay gumagawa ng naaayon sa batas pero merong tinatamaan, laging sasabihin nila, politically motivated. So saan pupunta?
Representatives from the Anti-Money Laundering Council and the banks that received subpoenas from the impeachment court also came to the Senate. They turned in financial records of the Vice President, her husband, and 20 companies allegedly linked to the couple.
Hindi mo talaga makikita, biglang sumulpot na lang dyan para maibabase natin, maibabangga-bangga natin yung SALN, yung binayad sa BIR. So, yun po yung pros. Pero yung cons din, kung hindi pala, biglang lumaki yung assets, liabilities, yung taxes niya lumaki this past few years lang. So, questionable. Kaya, we really want to find out, the senator judges wants to find out na kailan ba nag-umpisa ito, yung kanyang wealth, di ba? Yung yaman, magkano na ang kinita niya over the past several years.
As her impeachment trial continues, the VP is abroad, including The Hague, to visit her detained father. Former President Rodrigo Duterte will be tried by the ICC in November for crimes against humanity over his very own drug war, and his daughter launched another verbal attack against the Marcos administration.
Ang ICC ay tuta ni Trillanes at ni Marcos. Correct! Yes, they are traitors to a Filipino and to the country. The ICC has no other case except for the case of President Rodrigo Duterte. And they found what? And they found Marcos, Trillanes, and money.
Yes.
In the Philippine case.
Shame on ICC. Shame on ICC.
Maleta ang uusapan dito.
The Vice President also insisted that the killings in the Philippines linked to the Duterte drug campaign may have simply been the result of widespread gun violence. She even claimed that a gunman can be hired for as little as 5,000 pesos.
Gun violence is so common in the Philippines. I have a husband. My husband has a mistress. I can hire a gunman for 5,000 pesos to kill the mistress. That is how, for 5,000 pesos, that is how bad gun violence in the Philippines is. And that is, again, yes, EJK. So how can you say that all your listed victims, all your listed complainants are supposed victims of the drug war?
Sara then called on the ICC to release her father because according to her, the case is not about seeking justice, it is sheer politics.
They are holding an 81-year-old who cannot make his own bed, who cannot even clean his own room, who has bed sores, who has so many
My God.
aches and pains because of old age.
Of course, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro did not let this pass.
Ang lahat po halos ng sinasabi ng Vice Presidente sa ngayon ay walang basihan, walang saysay, useless, at nonsense. Maaaring ito ay kanya nasasabi out of frustration dahil ang kanyang ama ngayon ay nililitis sa ICC. Matagal na siyang opisyal, matagal din namuno ang kanyang ama bilang presidente. Bakit kaya hindi ito nasawata kung totoo ang kanyang binabanggit patungkol dito? Dapat siya na ang nauna na ito ay pigilan at hindi i-promote ang pagkausap sa isang assassin para pumatay sa taong kanyang kinaiinisan o sa taong siya ay galit.
For his part, former Senator Trillanes' reaction was simple. VP Sara has lost her mind. He said the ICC is not anyone's puppet, adding that Digong's case was the result of an investigation that took several years. And Filipinos are aware of the thousands of deaths caused by the former administration's war on drugs. Members of the prosecution of VP Sara's impeachment trial had a different take on her statements.
Ito ho ba yung presyo na iginawad ng ating pong pangalang Pangulo nung siya po ay nagbanta laban sa Pangulo at sa kanya pong pamilya? Is the price of the life of the President 5,000 pesos only? Hindi ba? Yan ho ba yung exact mechanism kung paano ho niya yan ginawa nung nagbanta siya sa Pangulo at sa kanya pong pamilya?
If she's really that confident about the information that she has, na 5,000 yung ibinibigay doon sa mga hitman, at the very least, the people expect her to share this information to our local investigative agencies or the police at the very least. Kung meron po siyang ganito, mga impormasyon.
Kapatid mobile journalist Mary Monreyes, we are One News.
And joining us on the show tonight is one of the private lawyers who make up the prosecution panel in the Vice President impeachment trial. Welcome to the big story, Attorney Lorna Kapunan.
Thank you for having me, Ces. Happy to be here and seeing you.
Senators who are against the prosecution bow to you.
Maybe it's a function of, I hope it's not a function of age, but wisdom.
Okay, now let's go to, first, today was an important day, finally.
Yes.
Tax records and some bank documents have been submitted now to the, what do you call it, the Secretariat of the
Correct.
Impeachment Court. Now, a lawyer has said, be careful what you wish for. Voluminous daw ang mga papeles na ito. Will you be able to make heads or tails of these documents in time?
Oh yes, because first, yung voluminous na yan is, hindi naman lahat ipipresent as evidence. No? It's a
But you
matter
have to
of fact.
pour over them. all
You
of
have to
them.
pour, and as we lawyers say, nothing beats preparation. So, you cannot go to court unarmed naman. Dapat may ammunition. Pag sinasabing unexplained wealth, bakit unexplained? So, we have to show pattern. Sinasabi nila, bakit pati yung period of time when she was not vice president, why are you still getting the bank records? Why are you still getting the records of the husband? Unless she already had an assassin kill the husband for 5,000 pesos, she's still married to him. And these are conjugal funds. That's why kasama rin yung mga bank accounts ng husband. And we will show through the evidence and the bank records a pattern. Kasi dapat may baseline
So,
yan eh.
pipili lang kayo nung talagang
Yes.
parang
Relevant.
okay.
Kung ano yung relevant. As a matter of fact, just to show
Parang
you,
smoking gun.
to show you kung kadami, how much, I don't know if I can repeat it, but I will say that one bank said that the subpoena documents of this bank will fill up 3 vans.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. So
Three
sabi ng Office of the Clerk of Court, sabi ni Clerk of Court natin, sabi niya, can you imagine that's one bank? Can you imagine may prosecution, may defense, no? That's why the question is, will the Clerk of Court of the Senate also give copies to the prosecution? Kasi subpoena documents namin yan, no? In court, all of course, because
And to the defense, of course. So that's a lot of paper.
That's
Some I understand are in USBs.
they will be in USBs, but at the end of the day, you will still have to go through all of the documents.
Okay, will there be something akin to a pre-trial conference again? Because you have to mark these.
Correct.
And you have to agree, both prosecution and defense, right? I mean, to spare the court again from a lengthy Q&A or
Tama ka
trial.
says, no?
Oo.
But, you know, it's lengthy, but it's necessary. It's necessary because the documents, as we say, they speak for themselves. Hindi na kailangan i-prove. Kasi, although in the House Committee on Justice, we already showed that. The prosecution already is,
Well, using
The
AMLAC
AMLA,
documents.
yes.
But you know what Attorney Panelo said here? Misleading because some are, some transactions are the same pero, or the money is the same pero parang na-multiply several times because, let's say, if you transferred it to another bank, it's the same money. You transfer it to a money market or some other instrument, nadodoble siya. So misleading daw ang count.
I think misleading ang statement ni Attorney
Okay.
Panelo
Okay.
is misleading
All
because
right.
if you, for instance, money in, money out, if it's money out, where did it go? Was it spent or was it converted? Kagaya ng ano. If you had cash in bank, because we recall, yung column sa SALN ni Vice President,
Walang cash in bank.
cash in bank. Where did it go? Did she buy properties? Then she should have a column that says properties. Hindi ba? So it is not as if you're counting it twice. If it was out, then it should not be there. If it is still there,
Or if it were converted to another asset.
then it should still be there. So that's not double
So misleading yun.
misleading yun.
Okay. Now, three vans, is that unusual? Or suspicious? To use the debate in the,
I know.
was it yesterday at the
Unusual,
impeachment court?
yeah.
Unusual. Pero kung,
Unusual yan.
kung almost 20 years naman, siguro naman, madami.
Madami, but if one bank has 3 vans, can you imagine how many subpoenaed banks we ask, how many documents there are, so how many bank accounts are there? So, kailangan malaman natin yan eh.
And this is the last article that you're presenting, so you have to prepare as early as now before you do that.
Well, we still have, right now, ongoing is confidential funds,
And we
which is separate from unexplained wealth, at meron pang isa, bribery. No?
Oo nga eh. Itong confidential funds is misuse of government funds, right? And we understand that you will finally be appearing in court and cross-examining or
Presenting
evidence.
Yes.
Yes? Can we say that now?
Yes, but I won't tell you who. Kasi, syempre, pag sinabi kong mag-a-appear ako at mag-present ng tatapatan ako ng katapat,
Oh.
kung meron man. Yabang.
Ang
ano?
yabang.
It's very mayabang.
Ang yabang.
No, it comes with that term. I mean, you know, it says, 48 years naman tayo. No?
Okay. Itong nangyaring pag-present sa land bank branch managers, parang it was just laying the foundation.
Correct.
So, we weren't expecting anything jarring, anything bombastic. Right?
Correct.
It's just to establish that these were the funds that
Correct.
refer to the confidential funds.
That's correct. Because, you know, a court case is like telling a story. You don't start at the end or the middle. You start at the beginning. Ano ang meron bang pera? Is the first question. Oh, may pera kasi meron yan, mga cheque. In cash. Remember, it is in cash. Even for land bank officials, it was unusual.
Unusual, but not necessarily illegal. It's just unusual.
It is-
That is where you come in. You
That
will
is the
prove.
next story. Kung na-withdraw yan in cash as confidential funds, was it used for the purposes intended? Kasi klarong-klaro may joint circular yan eh. A joint circular of the pertinent government agencies which indicates or guidelines on how to use intelligence funds or confidential funds. There are guidelines. So titignan natin, bakit, saan dinala to? Yung bang pambili ng mga medicines, confidential funds ba yun? Yung pangrenta ng mga safe houses, saan ang mga safe houses na yan? Meron bang resibo? Yung pagbigay daw ng mga rewards, yung pagbili ng mga sari-sari. Chairs and tables, Jesus Christ, chairs and tables, what have they got to do with confidential funds? So, yung use ng confidential funds or misuse ng confidential funds, yun ang susunod.
Okay.
Ang
Kaya
susunod
tama-
doon,
COA na.
sino ang gumamit? Kung
Si Mary
na-with-
Grace Piatos,
Mary Grace Piatos.
tatawagin ninyo.
Eh,
Na-contact niyo ba?
magdadala na lang kami ng Piatos tsaka Ensemada sa hearing para hindi kayo mabore.
Pero ito, sinabi ng defense, hindi naman damaging yung mga land bank officials. Tama, because you're just telling the story, the beginning of
That's
the
true.
story. Okay. Now, will you ever call the VP to the stand?
Well,
Can
it's-
you? Can you as the prosecution?
Yes.
As
Yes, we can.
but can a person testify against oneself?
That's what she's going to say. She cannot testify. But, you know, not to testify at all is not consistent with the claim of innocence. Kung sangkatutak, there are 4 articles charging her with high crimes,
Yeah.
grave corruption, culpable violation. At ikaw, if you're charged with a crime, anong gagawin mo?
Siyempre, dinenay ko kaagad.
Magagalit ka, hindi
Oo.
ba? Or magfa-file ka ng libel or ano. Hindi ka pupunta sa ibang bansa. Ano? At doon mag-press conference. That is not consistent with a claim of innocence. I mean, it's not the ordinary reaction of a person who claims innocent. You want to go out
You want to
there.
clear your name.
You want to clear your name.
Yeah. So,
So, dapat, pag sinaman siya, if at all, it will be determined. Kasi kami, mga inuutusan lang naman kami. No? We are under the direct control and
Okay.
supervision of
But
the
you can
prosecutor.
recommend, of
course.
course.
No, I mean, that's our value, no? Because we bring into
your experience.
years of experience.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
legislators who are lawyers don't necessarily have courtroom experience.
So you will recommend that she be summoned or listed as a...
Yes. In
Yes.
fact,
at which point for this article? Because this is government
this article,
funds.
maybe closer to home, yung kanyang unexplained wealth, no? Kasi hindi lang yung mga bangko, meron pang mga companies, no? In the first place, kung vice president ka, you're not entitled to have you can't entitled to sit in any board, no? So she sits.
But you know, that is the practice among our government
Correct.
officials actually. Right?
It's a practice.
People continue practicing law.
Correct.
They don't divest. We must be stricter. I hope with this impeachment trial, it should
Correct.
teach
Because nga, it's become a culture of
Impunity.
impunity. It's a culture of violence. If the reaction of a high official to a complaint, is violence. No? Kasi ang default reaction ng vice president is violence. Can you imagine if she were in a position, let's say she gets to run and she gets to win, what is she going to do?
Go after her enemies, I would suppose.
Go after you.
Me?
After-
Why me? You!
Go
Mas
after-
una ka!
Go after me. Go after me. And so, will there still be freedom of the press? When we have seen from her own father how the father reacted to opposition.
There was a climate of fear.
There's a climate of fear, and that has to stop. If we don't do it in this impeachment case, or if our people do not finally wake up and say enough is enough, tama na, hindi na
It
pwede
seems
to.
to be actually what the people want.
Exactly.
They want strong arm tactics. But let me go to the question of Senator Lacson. He stood up in the hearing and asked, when are you going, you should have an expert
Yes.
on the use of confidential intelligence funds. You will. You will.
Yes, because the observation of Senator Lacson, he being in that field before, is correct and tama naman talaga. Kasi saan ka nakakita ng confidential funds na fixed amount every month? Kasi ang confidential funds is for activities designed for whatever, surveillance, etc., etc. But how in heaven's name will a DepEd have surveillance
Maybe
funds?
they want access to the cash easily. I mean, if I'll make
Yeah,
an
but
excuse for them.
But it's the nature of the beast. Dapat defined yan kung magkano kailangan mo at kailangan, yun ang hihingin mo. We have seen documents that show fixed 125
Right.
every month. I think the point of Senator Lacson is that doesn't happen in
Yeah.
the nature of confidential
Yes, but will you
funds.
have a resource person to explain?
Yes.
You will. Because he seemed frustrated at
Yes, because
at the pace. I think he's impatient with the pace, really. What's your assessment so far? Medyo nakakainip, pero it's necessary. Ano?
it is necessary to establish, kasi di ba, before you reach the end, you have to go through the process. You have to explain paano ka nakakonclude na yan nga? Eh di pakita mo yung storya.
Yung simula pa lang,
may
kailangan.
pera.
Yeah.
Na-withdraw yung pera ng mga opisyales na Office of the Vice President at DepEd. Saan ginamit ang pera? Sinong kumuha ng pera? Etc. etc. In the end, it will point, I am certain, through the evidence that it will point to betrayal of trust. It is people's money. It's not spent for its purpose.
You know, the question, it's not going to be brought up in the impeachment court, or maybe it will, but in the first place, it was Congress that approved that when they were still allies with President BBM. Why did they give confidential funds to the Vice President? Won't it boomerang also?
Well,
At that time, allies pa kasi sila.
we cannot question the wisdom of Congress or
In fact, Alan Peter Cayetano, Senator, stood up and said, it should have been given not to the DepEd but to the VP's office. When that budget was being deliberated, I think in the BICAM.
well, as they say, it's always 2020 vision afterwards.
They gave her the leeway kasi magka-allies pa sila noon.
Correct.
Baka naman may sabihin si VP na hindi nyo gusto marinig. Pag nag-testify siya.
Bring it on, Madam Vice President, bring it on. I mean, this is dapat nasa correction mode na tayo. No? If we are to learn anything from this impeachment, I think it is that first, we must not lose hope. You and me says, I'm twice as old as you. I
No,
haven't,
you are not.
I haven't given up hope, di ba? If you give up hope, that's the end of us. If we become cynical and say, nako, walang mangyayari dyan, sige, bahala na kayo, pareho rin yan. Pagbalik niya, mawawala kayo. It's cynical, no?
Okay, sige. Let's have some hope. But
And, how many million Filipinos are we?
I don't know, the last, we're almost 120 na.
Yeah.
Oh.
There will arise a leader there. Already we're seeing some young new names in surveys. Sadly,
Where?
there are old recycled names as well. No? And
Exactly. Wait, I want to go back to one senator judge, Senator Pia Cayetano, who over the weekend posted a spliced video making it appear that
walang ebidensya.
walang
Yeah.
ebidensya, making it appear that Chel Jokno was wrong was going on a fishing expedition. Can the prosecution, because it's anyway, I may be wrong, but it looks like she will already acquit, right? Can you not rise? How come there was silence when the impeachment trial resumed from the prosecution or from their colleagues? From the colleagues, the fellow senator judges of Senator Pia.
First of all, there was no silence. No? In fact, we were so appalled
Well, you had press conferences, I mean, in the court itself.
in the court itself because
You cannot? The
well, we
prosecution
can.
You
I
can.
think, but the proper venue really is the ethics committee.
Yeah.
And some people have already filed in the ethics committee because ang nangyayari ngayon, and we're seeing the pattern, as you can see, it's already a 1, 2, 3 punch, no? The Alan and Pia,
And
ending with
Senator Robin
my
Padilla.
favorite, Senator Robin Padilla, with a punch at the end. So, in the end, what the people will remember is not the evidence that the prosecution presented. It is not the...
Well, not
it is,
because the people are seeing the social media posts.
Correct.
Depends on their circle, right?
kasi, ang social media naman ngayon is...
Kulang kayo sa social media, baka talo kayo dyan. I thought you were also going to do your own.
It's the trolls, it's the technology. Kasi sa social media, if you look at the source of the trolls, of the loyalists of DDS, you can find it. It goes way back to may Vietnam dyan, may China dyan. So
There's an unseen hand.
Correct.
Do you think there's a foreign country that's orchestrating it?
Well, I don't know, and I hope not. But as we can see, this must be heavily funded. I'm speculating, no? But sa technology ngayon, isang pindot lang na yon, you have 5,000. You have 5,000. Does it mean that there are 5,000 loyal supporters? No, there's one person making one pindot, probably financed by whomsoever.
But it's fed to...
And because it is exciting and it is
It's fed to the echo chambers
correct
of the
to the
DDS.
echo chambers.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I think the challenge is not to us, it's to you. It's to you in legitimate media.
Talo rin na kami ng social media. Sa totoo lang. But, okay, so there's an ethics complaint, but this is in the Senate.
It's in the Senate.
Not, I don't think that covers her actuations as a senator judge, or I'm not sure. Would it, will you ever ask her to inhibit?
Personally, if this were a regular courtroom, and there is such a conduct of a judge, I would file for inhibition.
Yeah.
Of the judge in a regular courtroom.
Exactly. Why
in a
don't
regular
you?
courtroom. Why don't I?
Yeah. I mean, the panel, the prosecution.
For inhibition?
Yes.
Because we know that it will fail. Because an inhibition
is
no?
made by the person himself.
An inhibition is judged by the
Parang
person herself.
mag-recuse ka.
Yeah.
A recusal has to be voluntary.
That's true. So it depends on the moral compass of the person being inhibited. So some judges miski na in ordinary courts, no, some judges, even if they show prejudice or bias, pag nag-file ka at dininayan, talo ka na. So that is the equation. No?
Okay.
So if we file for inhibition, assuming we can, or assuming the public prosecutors decide, you think that would be cordial, friendly, even institutional, kasi hindi lang naman impeachment to, no? Kasi they're very sensitive about, like for instance, yung Senate hearings in aid of legislation, pag iniimbita ang Congress, the Congress will say, co-equal body, institutional courtesy, etc. Same. So this one maybe
Might do more damage.
to the institutions, to form, because beyond, life will not end with impeachment.
True.
Relationships will continue between the Senate and the House, and I guess there is a conscious effort to keep that cordial relationship existing.
Now, obviously, you won't have the votes if the ruling by the presiding officer is held, right?
Yes.
So, is there no justiciable event yet that can spur you to go to the Supreme Court?
There is.
There is.
There is, and
It is already.
Precisely, I think there is wisdom in the presiding officer saying we will stick by affirmative votes of 16 of all of the senators, so, counting even those who are in jail or cannot be found, and I think that by itself now raises a constitutional justiciable issue. The problem with that is who will file now. Remember, there was one teacher who filed in the Supreme Court and got dismissed kasi
Right.
kailangan
a person who
kailangan
will be affected.
kailangan Senate or prosecution or maybe complainants, maybe the private complainants in the case, no? Kasi remember, we went
Which private complainants? Who are these?
the third and fourth impeachment complaint in the House.
I see.
Baka sila.
Pwede.
Because yung nag-survive, apat yun nag-survive yung third and fourth, and that became the basis of is there form, is there substance, and is
Right.
there probable
So,
cause.
pwedeng sila.
They have, they will be parties in
They're relevant enough.
Correct.
Parang, what?
They're
Interested?
interested parties.
Interested
standing
parties.
It's
preventing...
called standing to sue.
Okay. What's preventing the prosecution from doing that? Because it will affect... Time is running out. I mean, this may entail a long debate once the voting comes. So, and we know how the Supreme Court takes its time.
Well, it's really up to the public prosecutors. Again, if I were to give my 10 cents worth, I would say, ngayon na, mag-file na tayo ngayon.
Correct.
Correct, di ba?
Oo.
Because, okay, people are, well, especially the Senate President has said, baka abutin pa tayo ng 1.5 years, no? Because 60 trial dates ang prosecution, 30 trial dates ang
defense,
ang
ang
defense.
respondent.
And then it's 3 times a week. It's 3 times a week lang. So, but as you can see, we have made, from our first presentation, we've shortened from 12 naging 3. Sa confidential funds, there's a conscious effort now to take a second look at our number of witnesses.
Yes, you said 32 days.
32 days.
Will you cut this in half?
Pexman, baka mga 10 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Baka naman ang strategy ng defense, pag time na nila, tagalan.
Hindi. Palagay ko, ang strategy ng defense, because they keep repeating and repeating it, no? Ang strategy nila is, wala silang evidence. They don't have to present evidence, is what they're saying, because they're saying wrongly ito, they're saying there is a presumption of innocence, and therefore, the prosecution has to prove its case.
Right.
That is
hard
the wrong...
task.
That's the wrong context, because this is not a criminal case. In a criminal case, there is a presumption of innocence. There is no such presumption. there is no such presumption in an impeachment case. So you have to prove. You have to prove that there is no violation of the Constitution, there is no betrayal of public trust, equal burden on both the prosecution and the defense. Ngayon, ang mangyayari dyan, dialogue. Because pag hindi nga gumalaw ang Supreme Court, if there is nobody filing a case, the Supreme Court has no opportunity. Or even if it does, no,
Right.
it may also decide not to
To
decide.
act. Yes, true.
And say it is a political question.
Right. But at least you'll know.
Yes,
Yes.
you'll know. And then it stands as it is. It will be all of the Senate. So if that happens, and if they are thinking that they have the numbers, why will they still present evidence? And that's why the prosecution was asked, and this is not public record, the prosecution was asked, how do you want to proceed? Of course, we want to proceed the way we would in an ordinary court.
First
Prosecution,
article,
defense.
Okay, yes.
For the four.
Correct.
Ang gusto nila
But
ngayon,
hindi kayo
lahat.
nag-agree, lahat.
Correct. So because of that, lahat ng articles, prosecution, then defense. When the prosecution ends, and wala pang nangyayari, wala pang definitive ruling, why present evidence, di ba?
So they're banking on that.
They're banking on that. Because if you look
So
at
that's why it benefits them that it's present all the articles first and then their turn.
Yes.
It would have been good if we saw the defense also present in the
So
article.
we know,
form.
do you have a defense here?
Exactly.
Or do you have a defense here? Do you have a defense here? And now it's saying, so now it's a blanket. You did not prove your case.
I now have to give you your parting shot because we're on overtime. I have another guest. So
Okay.
what's your parting shot for all of us?
My parting shot for all of us is, this is not just for all of us. It's for future generations. And therefore, let's go back to values. Let's go back to the old value of honesty, the old value of truth, the old value of being true, the old value of always pursuing the truth. And my final message to all of you is, huwag tayong mawalan ng pag-asa.
We will try. Wala ng pag-asa.
We will try.
Sa kadiliman.
But as they say, just light a little candle
Right.
in the darkness.
That's all it takes. Thank you for taking the time
Thank you for
on the
having me.
big story. That was Attorney Lauren.
Kung may mga kainan kayo na may alam dito, wala akong masyadong free time, pero yan, baka mamaya pang dinner.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
good evening,
go
Ses.
first
Good evening to our televiewers.
to the Senatorial Preference Survey with Robin Padilla as a solid number one. And
Yeah.
other
Well,
Duterte allies also in the Magic 12.
yes, they're very popular. These are popular names, established names. It happened to be that they're also allied or aligned with a former president and his coalition. But these are established names already. Robin Padilla was number one when he last ran. So these are established names and incumbents, no? So advantage of the incumbent is very clear here. But there are also other names who are past senators who have also established political families, no? There's some surprising names in the list. Vico Soto is one. Ben Tulfo, no, seems to be still quite popular. But everyone else is an established political name. Or either they are incumbents or past senators.
Exactly, Prof. How can an unknown with a good track record, with a good name, and wants to serve the country ever make it to the Magic 12 if all we vote for are based on personality and name recall?
Yeah. Well, it's also the list, says, so, we're also, it's also affected by the list, who the names are on our list.
So you
So many
provided
of
a
them are,
list. They just
yeah,
had to show their...
because quite a number are subscribers. So they just wanted to know what was the preference. So that's one. Number two, you have to also understand that, name recall is very important and established political family is also important. But number three, most Filipinos can only fill up between 1 to 7 names right now. So the interview will force them to fill out names. They'll just probably fill it up with people they already know. So
Okay.
it's also that, no? Important to understand, Seth, that these are not forecasts. These are not written in stone. These are just snapshots of possible candidates in 2028. It's so long from now, no?
So may
So
pag-asa pa.
this
May
list will change.
pag-asa pa. I mean, it's
Yeah,
early.
may pag-asa. Yeah, may pag-asa pa. You look at Heidi, since Heidi,
Didn't you put her name?
what you call this? Yeah, her name is here. Heidi Mendoza, di ba? And our
But
very own Ronald Llamas, look at that, may 2.8. Ronald Llamas is last on the list. So there's hope for the country, di ba? There's one guy here, Attorney Dino De Leon, who's actively an activist on social media.
yes.
And he got 7%. So that's a big thing. Nobody knows who he is, no? Very few of us actually know of his activism.
Okay.
But obviously he's doing well on social media. And the rest are really established names. So Benjamin Magalong, Vince Dizon is still there. So it's still quite a long time. And so these numbers will change. They're not written in stone and they're not a forecast. And that's why it's important for us to understand that these are just snapshots. And
And
that
also,
numbers
I
will
guess
change.
if you're number one, there should be more scrutiny now on how you're performing and if you really deserve to be reelected, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially now, in this climate of impeachment, people are really gonna scrutinize how all of these incumbents who are leading now are performing.
Right. You said that these are many are Duterte allies. However, the VP suffered a decline, and this was because the survey was taken when the impeachment trial had started. Correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
can we conclude, or is it too early to say that there is already a dent on the VP because of the impeachment trial, a dent on her numbers?
I think it's safe to say that she got a hit. What was affected in her numbers were both trust and performance. There was an 8 percentage point drop in her trust, which never really happened as far as the VP was concerned. No, so given that she has no portfolio, she's not really doing anything as far as performance is concerned. So you can only really attribute, no, although we're not saying it, it's the only causal factor. But you can say that a big influence would have been, or big impact would have been, the fact that the impeachment trial started. There was a massive social and traditional media coverage of this. So yeah, maybe that affected her numbers. Now, going forward, it's been a month of trials, so much evidence out. Do you really expect her numbers to improve? I mean, the likelihood that her numbers were going to suffer are always there. But, you know, she could
However,
rebound. No?
if I may point out, I just had Attorney Kapunan here on the show, and she was bewailing the way the trial is being portrayed on social media. So, if it benefits the Duterte following, the news that's seen on social media, then it may not cause a big hit.
Well, well, the fact of the matter is that says it did cause a big hit, and that was just the first week. So we don't expect, at least, I mean, you know, in that these numbers will improve significantly, because the second, third, and fourth week were very damning evidence came out. Now, you know, we don't know. We can't say, we haven't run our own third quarter survey. But if in the first week of the trial this was already the impact, what more over the next month or so? Now, Okta is now working with an institute in the University of the Philippines, the Institute of Math, who's doing sentiment analysis. So even when you look at the social media sentiment, there was a hit. No, it wasn't as significant as the survey, but it sort of looked like our survey findings also. So there was a hit. It's not insignificant, and it's something that we feel, if the VP is unable to respond, no, through her defense, through her engagement in social media, this decline might continue. It may not continue, but it might. Likely, it might continue.
Now let's go to President Marcos. Is there going to be a free fall in his numbers? Because the decline is steady.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible. But in the case of the president, it was his performance rating that really suffered, not his trust. No? Although they went down, or both vice president and president went down. And the president's numbers are deeply affected by the way he's dealing with the socio-economic impact of this crisis, no, brought about by the conflict in the Middle East. It doesn't seem that conflict is, resolving. So we might likely get worse before we get better. So the president's response to the hardship brought about by this crisis on our kababayans is will likely have an impact on whether his performance and trust numbers improve, or will they further decline. But here's something to note, despite the national decline, in fact, when you look at the numbers, which we provided everyone in TV5, his numbers, president's numbers in Class E and in balanced Luzon actually improved in performance. So that means the ayuda economics, no, that the president was pushing, at least as a short-term response to the crisis, seemed to have helped, because he did not decline in Class E. That was the only class he did not decline in. But on the whole, nationally, his numbers went down in balanced Luzon, in Mindanao. So all of these things, yeah.
And with his recent SONA, where he really focused on other social safety nets, you expect this to also be welcomed by the maybe D and E?
But I think mostly D. That's where he suffered the biggest decline. The middle class is suffering very badly. They're not getting any help, or not getting sufficient help from the government. The government put all the resources and targeted it to the very poor, Class E, which is why in the survey, you'll notice he actually gained. Positive siya sa Class E in our survey. So he has to provide the same kind of safety net, the same kind of programs for a broader set of the population. I guess that was the focus of the SONA.
Sige.
That's
Prof,
why he's asking for tax relief and all of these things.
right. Before we go, I'd like to discuss at least the concerns of the people, and you did study that heavily in this survey or ask very pertinent questions. Ano po yung mga top concerns ng mga Pilipino?
Thank you, Ces, for pointing to that. That's, I think, the most important survey finding in our quarterly surveys. Number one is controlling inflation, 37%. Number two is increasing wages, which have been stagnant for many years at 34%. And number three, and this is surprising, not surprising, but this is showing that this is a continuing challenge, no? And an important issue is fighting graft and corruption. Number four is access to affordable food. And number five is free quality education. Now, what changed here? Number three was number five in the last quarter. So fighting graft and corruption has been and continues to be an important issue for our kababayans, almost as important as controlling inflation. So this is the signal. This is also what was discussed in the SONA. And I hope that the president means what he says and says what he means. When he wants to tackle these top
delivers
five. And delivers, yeah, of course, yes. That's what I mean, that he has to deliver because the SONA is meaningless if there's no implementation. The SONA can really only be measured based on what has been promised and what has been delivered.
Well, you know, he signed off on the BIR, on the tax records of VP Sara. We weren't expecting that, although Ronald Llamas said he would. But yung sinabi niyang ilagay na yung MAIFIP sa PhilHealth para wala nang pila-pila-pila at mga kuha ng signatures, tignan natin kung kaya niyang gawin yon when he gives the NEP.
Yes, that's true. When you say what you mean and mean what you say, you will see it in the budget. And that's, I think, the focus of the president. The focus is on education and health, which is also our top two personal concerns. So, you know, he's listening to the surveys, obviously. We also gave them these surveys much, much earlier. And so, you know, it's important that the president responds to the urgent needs of our people.
When's the next survey?
September. It's been a busy year. Oh, yeah. But at least we were able to capture some of the more important things happening in the life of our nation. And that's what we do in Okta. We're just messengers. We just show this data and for everyone to know.
Amazing that you can see already an impact. Like sabi mo, tumaas ang E because of the ayuda. No? So these surveys are really important to let us know.
It's a hypothesis. That says it's a hypothesis. We're not saying it caused it, but it's a possible thing. It's a possible, no? Kasi why ba tumaas eh? We were all started.
Siya lang ang
Everything
tumaas.
else went down. Siya lang tumaas.
I'm sorry, we have to say goodbye at this point. Ang daldal kasi ni Attorney Lorna Kapunan. Thank you so much, Okta Research President Ranjit Rai. Welcome back to the big story. The Senate Energy Committee has grilled Meralco over why consumers continue to pay for system loss charges. The power distributor explained that system loss refers to electricity wasted during transmission. It said those losses can be technical, such as heat generated by